Well, the Celtics' first scrimmage has wrapped up, and things were a little disjointed,
A little
as to be
bumpy.
expected for their first game back. I'm Sierra Goodwill here with Jimmy Toscano and Bobby Manning. Guys, we talked in a different video that you can find on our YouTube channel about the starting rotation and how they looked in their first game back. Let's talk more about the second unit here, because Brad Stevens had said in the bubble that he was most impressed with how those bench players were coming along and how much energy they were bringing to practice. And then the scrimmage came along, and we didn't really see anything very impressive. Guys, what stood out to you or didn't in terms of the bench play?
Enes Kanter was number one, right? Like, he got back in the double figures, had a nice spin move to the basket, putbacks, all the stuff you expect from him. He's my guy to watch on the bench, of course, among guys who are likely to play no matter what happens in the rotation, because, he's going to be your bench scorer. You don't think being a bench scorer, you think you're Jamal Crawford, you think you're, wing guys who are putting up a ton of shots, but this is the guy who early in the season was the other double-figure scorer with those starters. So seeing him get back into form, even though a lot of those points were in the second half garbage time, was nice. But the second wing didn't emerge. Shemi wasn't hitting the shots. Romeo Langford wasn't out there at all. He had a stomach bug or something, some sort of illness that held him out. So you didn't see a second wing emerge. Javonte Green was just in the second half. Like, that's a spot that needs to be filled come playoff time. They're not going to be a deep bench playoff team this year, given the people that they have on the team. So I don't know, Grant, Green, Ojale, Langford, if he starts playing, like, that's the second spot behind Kanter that needs to be filled out.
Bob just covered the entire team, so.
Well, no, I'm gonna wait. I gotta ask you about Time Lord. Everyone was hyping up Rob.
Don't forget him.
We were expecting so much out of him. Enes Kanter said he looked incredible in practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was very lackluster. I mean, it wasn't it wasn't awful, but were you expecting more out of Time Lord's big return?
I think a lot of what you hear from Time Lord's teammates, they're not lying, but I think they're trying to get him going a little bit. They're trying to pump him up. They're trying to give him that confidence, and I think the talent's definitely there. I did see a couple nice passes. The talent's there. The basketball IQ is there. It's just gonna be tapped into a little bit. I mean, he's still raw, and again, these guys, Time Lord hasn't been practicing like every day, like in his own home court gym, working on his game in quarantine. At least I don't think so. Not because he doesn't want to, just because I don't think a lot of these players had the means to or were able to. So it's not like he's been able to work on certain parts of his game. So I think there's going to be a little bit of time it's going to take to get back to where he needs to be. I wasn't overly impressed by anybody, but then again, the bench has never overly impressed me. I mean, aside from really Marcus Smart when he's coming off there, it's not a strong bench. There are players that can help, and I do think like Tremont Waters can be a scorer at some point for this team. I think he can score in bunches, but they don't have a deep bench. They don't have they're not like a veteran bench. They're not like a team that is going to go like 10 deep on you and just keep coming. I'm not saying there are many that are, but they're certainly not anywhere near that. So I'm looking to just see guys who make like minor improvements. Like, I mean, Bobby listed a bunch of them. I know Shemi's like great defender, can hit the occasional three. You like to see that shot fall down a little bit more, but there's not a lot. I mean, you're relying on young guys like rookies, Grant Williams, Time Lord. You mentioned Romeo, who didn't play. These are guys that they barely have any experience in the NBA, so you really can't count on them at this point.
Where would you play Rob? That's the thing for me. Like, I almost imagine a situation where you get him in with the starters there because there's more talent around him. You can get more out of him. But Tice has deserved that spot, and he's earned it this year. So I don't know how you could slide him in there. I wouldn't put him out on island with the second unit because you don't get him much out of him in that spot either. Like, you're never going to see 5 bench guys like they had in the second half with this team.
Right.
No, I think he's a type of guy you see in there when something's going wrong with the other guys.
Yeah, right? I don't think he's capable of that either, which I like. He needs guys around who will empower him.
When Tice picks up, 4 fouls in midway through the second quarter, then you got to start to get creative. Brad Stevens has to, reach into his bag of chips, and that's when you see a guy like Williams in there.
Well, this Garden Report has been sponsored by Masterclass. Get Unlimited access to every masterclass, and as a Garden Report listener, you can get 15% off the annual All Access Pass. Just go to masterclass.com/CLNS. For all of our Celtics coverage, you can find it on our website at clnsmedia.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Celtics All Access.